To the guy in the back of the classroom who is rolling his eyes as I speak, I get it, horses aren't for everyone. From being ditched on the playground as a kid to sitting in a room full of strangers who have already labeled me as the horse girl, I've heard it all. Just know, your insults do not faze me. I could stand here all day long going on about how cool I think horses are and the many ways they've changed history, but that wouldn't matter. You'd go home and forget it. So I'll skip the lecture and demonstrate how they've affected me personally. I have now dedicated 13 years of my life to finding a better way to communicate with horses, studying how they move around, the facial expressions they make, the different patterns and physical traits, but most importantly, how they interact with people. Anytime we go on the internet, there's at least 5 different videos displaying a horse flipping over backwards, biting a guy's finger, or even kicking at someone. Personally, I've never seen it happen in real life. Most horses give you a fair warning: pinned ears, tightened jaw, irritated swishing tail, all of which can easily be corrected through training. It's so simple to just throw a flank strap on and wait for them to get tired. I used to believe in the cowboy way. It cost me a broken arm and injured back. These days, trainers have come up with a newer method called pressure and release. It is the art of applying force and releasing it at the exact moment the horse complies with your request. Manners are crucial. If I'm not safe on the ground, I won't feel very safe on that horse's back either. It's cute when they're little, having them up in your space, wanting to love on and nuzzle up to you, until they get big. The reason why it's so important to teach them boundaries and personal space is when you're doing something important, they're not running into you, shoving you. That includes interacting with people. If they do it to you, why wouldn't they do it to others? Let's say you're doing something and you need the horse to move out of your space. You start pushing and say, "Get back." The horse goes, "Well, why would I get back? You invited me into your personal space." In a herd, the dominant mare will push around the more submissive ones. Cuddling with your horse is great, but only when you invite them in. The horse should not be imposing the physical contact. A huge part of teaching them about boundaries is the pressure and release. One of the tools I use is called a lunging whip. Whenever King Denali steps too close to me, I start tapping on his chest. I continue to add pressure until he takes a step back. The moment he does, I give him the release. You can't make a horse do something. They are bigger and stronger than you. It'd be like arm wrestling John Cena. The trick is convincing them that your command is beneficial. It's giving a direction and saying, "This is why," just like working with a bratty teenager. When training a horse, it is a great idea to take them out with you on the trails. In the wild, adolescents will shadow their mothers, picking up skills along the way. King Denali watches everything I do with Winona. When I sling the saddle up on her and she doesn't react, that's letting him know it's not a threat. Like a man named Buck once said, everything you do with a horse is a dance. Just hanging out with King Denali is enough. Going for a walk, being brushed, letting me pick up his hooves. It's the little things that build connection. Any horse can be ridden bitless. That's based on experience and research. A piece of metal should not define how well your animal behaves. Most assume that using a bit gives the rider more control of their horse. I say you are far more impressive without one. My mare lost a chunk of her tongue to an ignorant rider. There's a difference between being direct and being cruel. That's not to say you can't use a bit. I'm saying it shouldn't be required. A little bit of pressure on your horse's nose is typically enough to get the message through. There are also several varieties of nosebands to assist you. I like to compare horse riding to getting a shot. Over half of the experience depends on the doctor. If I'm going to get a shot, I'd want someone nice to administer it, aka treat your horses the way you want someone to treat your mother. If I'm already nervous, I don't need you to make it worse. Horses pick up on your vibe. If you're jumpy, they will be too. Exploring the world through a horse's eyes is incredibly fascinating. You know the plastic bag we saw the other day while riding? Guess what? It looks different today. Horses do not have categorical memory, meaning they aren't able to process when things change. The bag was clean yesterday. Today it has branches and mud on it. Now, a terrifying monster in the horse's eyes. Despite the horse's lack of processing, there's still things we can do in the arena to prevent spookiness and strengthen your bond. Groundwork is a variety of different things. It's lunging, desensitization to the whip, hoof work, backing up, even holding still for haltering. Every one of those things is teaching your horse something. Treat training is a great way to mix fun and work. I found that most horses, especially younger ones, can be motivated by food. A tiny treat when you're picking up their feet, another one after cinching. Eventually, even the bit is a positive experience. However, treats aren't just for daily actions. Like dogs, horses can be taught tricks. My personal favorite is called leg. The instructions for teaching this are simple. All you need is a halter, 2 ropes, and a bucket of treats. To begin, tie off your horse and attach a rope around the bottom of one of their front legs. Step back and allow your horse to stand there for a moment. When they are ready, you can say the word leg and pull up on the rope. When the horse's leg touches the ground again, give them a treat. After repeating this action a few times, they should begin to understand what you're saying. The final result will look something like this. Leg. Teaching your horse to give kisses is even more simple. Most will already give you a reaction when massaging their lips. Winona doesn't always give kisses right away, but we will encourage her. I start by running my fingers along the bottom of her muzzle. It will usually elicit a nipping or wiggling motion from the horse. When she does this, I click and give her a treat. After repeating that a few times, I instead use my fingers to brush the top of her lips, hoping to get the same response, clicking and giving her a treat when she gives it. Once the horse is familiar with those motions, I begin to hold my hand up straight, rewarding her when she touches it. Finally, we graduate from clicking to saying give kiss. The end result will look something like this. Never allow your horse to give kisses anywhere besides your hand. Horses aren't always mindful of the force they use, and it can be painful on other parts of the body. It's not a positive thing to teach them to reach for your face or shoulders. Horses may bite if they are frustrated by not receiving a treat or other type of reward. I'd rather be nipped on the hand than the cheek or arm. King Denali is a very excitable horse, and because he is young, he doesn't always understand boundaries. Instead of allowing him to reach for treats, I make my body language closed off and have him wait. Sometimes ignoring the horse is the best approach. If it takes a minute to quiet down, that's okay. I'm willing to wait, knowing the next time will be different. Each time, he has to be patient. It's teaching him something. One great trick for this is called the head cower. It teaches them to turn their head away when you do. When standing in front of Denali, I show him a treat. Then I take a step back, not allowing him to reach it. When he holds still, I click and give it to him. This is programming his brain to associate calmness with treats. Once he understands, I now come to the side of him, showing him a treat. Taking hold of his halter, I push his head away. I then hide the treat at my side, turning my head as well. After a few seconds, I click, releasing his face and getting his attention. Then I offer the treat. Soon, the horse will begin to do it on his own. The end results look something like this. Horses also help me with my editing skills. I don't know about you, but when I'm scrolling on TikTok and see a good horse edit, I get a little excited, which is why I'm going to show you this edit of my horse, King Denali. The big, majestic beasts are a great motivation to attend computer classes. Buying the horse is the smallest amount you'll ever pay. They still require the weekly amounts of hay, vet bills, money for tack, special horse pellets, farrier, and a little bit of backup medical supplies because God knows horses are clumsy. That's all after purchasing land, panels for your pen, a shelter to keep off the rain, a trailer to haul your horses, and figuring out where to get water. Horses themselves can cost anywhere from $500 to $50,000, depending on their pedigree, performance record, and manners. The bigger the budget, the more options you have to choose from. You also have to consider the size, speed, temperament, age, and even the sport when buying a horse. What will they be used for? Is there anything that may affect their performance rate? A draft horse looks silly while running barrels. A quarter horse cannot pull a heavy cart. R.I.P. to the idiot who forgot just how fast horses can go. I continuously hear the argument that dirt bikes are faster than horses. Finally, someone decided to put that to the test. Enjoy this horse versus machine video. How do people not realize these machines were based off of horsepower? When we are on horses, their legs are ours. Attached in more ways than one, we have no choice but to trust in the partnership. Our breathing and heartbeats synchronize with the horses from 5 feet away. You give out what you get back. If you are rough with the horse, they'll be rough with you. They not only read human facial expressions, but can also remember a person's previous emotional state. Horses are a mirror of yourself. If you don't like what you see, then maybe you should change it. I don't care what anyone says. These are my best friends. 1,000-pound animals that bend to my will, meet my needs, tolerate all of my crap, and take me places where machines can't even touch. So yes, I am a horse girl.